My friend, an amazing actor named Ajitesh, invited me to his play at Prithvi Theatre, Juhu. I love all kinds of performances movies, TV, stand up, improv, and of course, I love going to plays. I love being introduced to new ideas, other dimensions, and the trials and tribulations of characters across spectrum. Perhaps what I love most is the fourth wall, the term for the end of the stage, where our normal, everyday life ends and the reality of the stage begins, separated by just a few inches, but in our imagination, worlds apart. I went, like I usually do, with sufficient time in hand. It was a lovely evening. It was a lovely evening in January, and it was very pleasant. It was a lovely evening in January, and it was very pleasant to sit and wait for the queue to form. I brought a ticket, grabbed a copy of the upcoming calendar for the month, and found myself a seat. I sat on the bench where the line starts, enjoying the solitude, flipping through the calendar, looking for faces I might know, parts I dreamt of playing one day, and highlights to scribble down on my day planner. Just ahead of me, there was a gentleman wearing a frameless spectacles, probably in his 60s, not more than 75. He turned towards me and asked, "Are you regular at Prithvi?" And that's how our conversation started. This old man was visiting his native India on a business trip. His whole family moved to Kenya for work, and no one he knew was now left in India. He told me about each of them in detail. And the two of us were almost friends at this point. Instead of a more common uncle, I started calling him Uncle G. The gates opened, and we stood up to get in the theatre and grab our seats. If you have been to Prithvi, you will know that seating is on first come, first serve basis. And the best place to watch a play would be from the third or fourth row, center. People, as soon as they check their tickets, rush to grab those seats. It's a fine sight to observe everyone rushing, but still trying to maintain their dignity as they subtly elbow towards those spots. It's all smiling, giggling, talking among friends, some glued to their mobiles, some acting like they don't care where they get to sit, acting cool. But everyone focused on how to grab those amazing seats to watch the play. Uncle G knew that his best chance was to stick along to a veteran. Someone who knew these dark waters. Someone like me. We made it to the fourth row. I offered him to sit in the center and took the seat to his left. Next to Uncle G were two old aunties. Maybe it's mean to say, but these looked like sober snobbish aunties. Wearing pearl necklaces as white as their hair. They were dressed with matching designer chappals. But then again, aside from few rich snobs, what I like about Prithvi is that there are usually all kinds of people from many different backgrounds. Little by little, it started to fill up while I suggested to Uncle G what plays he should watch while he is in town. Also, I invited him to one of my improv shows, after which I wrote the information regarding the show, venue, my name and email ID on a piece of paper and gave it to him. Soon the house was packed, and it was about time for the show to start. Being a performer myself, mostly a character actor, this is always the most exciting part, the anticipation of the start, the nervous tension in the air, the curious eyes scanning the stage for how it will all begin. It's part of the thrill that really makes anyone involved in the theatre feel like their time and effort is well spent. I always get a little nervous, wanting the last few latecomers to quickly get in their seats so that no one is distracted at all. I love those first moments. The light went down. My friend Ajitesh, who invited me for the show, crossed the stage and sat next to the band comprised of a guitarist and a drummer on stage right. The band started playing, and along with it, my friend Ajitesh sang a beautiful classical rag as the light slowly came on, like a sunrise. I have heard him sing before, but this was different. He was so good. The words were those of a well-trained artist, but he still had the freshness and spirit of a young person still exploring his craft. He smoothly and seamlessly sung the most difficult parts. Everyone in the house, with an occasional wow, wow, and claps, echoed my thought. Everyone was glued to the stage, and so was I. My friend had done his job and done it magnificently. And the audience rewarded him with a big round of applause. I am sure it felt great for him. Next, the first scene of the play started. I was watching closely, listening, analyzing, and hoping for something that would grab my interest even deeper. The audience was happy. They laughed and clapped. Suddenly, in the middle of the second scene, an unusual light from my right disturbed me. It was Uncle G with his iPad. I hate when people work on their phone or pads while a performance is on. It can break the illusion of the stage and shatters the atmosphere everyone worked so hard to build. Checking and replying, or even worse, talking on the damn phone during a performance. It's pretty incredible. Even though I have seen it dozens and dozens of times, I ignored this uncle. Yes, uncle. The bond of friendship was now broken. He was no more Uncle G. He dropped his iPad, but I didn't look over. Even my reflexes were angry. I focused my attention at my friend on stage, who was jumping and singing, and the rest of the actors who were in formation dancing around him. Just then, I heard a sound from my right, again. It was the old snobbish auntie. Excuse me, excuse me. I just sighed and shook my head. First him, and now her. I knew these ladies were going to be trouble. I kept looking forward, but I hear her again. Excuse me, hello? Uncle was completely leaning on her. Kind of falling over her with his back towards them and his hands in a weird position, as if he's holding a bow and an arrow. His face was crooked. And his body was shaking. It took me a second to realize he was having a seizure. I stood and immediately held his hand with my left, supporting his back with my right. Meanwhile, old auntie started mumbling. What's happening to him? He was watching something on this. She was holding the iPad. I saw a picture of a little girl on it. Turned to the auntie, knowing that the play was about to come to a screeching halt, and said, he is experiencing a seizure. Let me help him. Please move a bit on the side so that I can place his leg on the seat. I shouted, is there a doctor in the house? This man needs a doctor. And the lights went on. I looked uncle, who was looking directly at me, as if saying, help me somebody. Maybe the shock of the whole thing just took everyone by extreme surprise, because the audience was frozen. The man's body was also frozen, and with no one moving an inch, and with the aunties playing with the iPad. Yeah, aunties playing with the iPad. It was left up to me to do the heavy lifting. With my hand still supporting his back, I lifted his leg with my other hand. It was hard to put him down. His body was resisting it. I tried pushing him down so that he could lie down with his back straight and head facing towards the ceiling. In the movies, this always seems to be the best position, at least for the lighting. But if anyone knows anything about medicine, this is completely wrong position to put anyone who is experiencing a seizure. I had no clue about it then. Uncle was resisting all this because he knew. He knew that I was positioning him wrong. In epileptic seizure, he was losing access to air and drowning in his own fluids. And me laying him with his back straight and neck in line was making it worse. I realized it when, after what seemed like forever, a man rushed towards us. No, sideways, lie him sideways. I immediately turned him sideways, and Uncle spat out. I moved a step back and froze. The man who shouted at me looked at me and said, "It's okay, I am a doctor." Another man from my behind, from my right, moved me away. "I am a doctor too." Suddenly, I was very thankful for all and any of the Prithvi rich snobs. From my left, one of the old aunties was insisting I make Uncle smell her designer chappals, claiming she knew it would help. The other auntie had a small container she took out from the purse and was applying some kind of yellow powder on Uncle's feet. Baba's vibhuti, she said. I was numb. I could see and hear but not understand. I even held the chappal for a second, about to stick it into the growing pile around Uncle, but then dropped it. One of the doctors was now searching Uncle's pocket for a mobile. He found a piece of paper. "I found something," he said. "A name and an address." It was details about my show. I said, "That's my show info. I invited him. That's my ID." "Do you know him?" the doctor asked. To which I replied, No, not really. He's just a nice uncle I met outside." The doctor looked like a Swami wearing a formal dress. "I am a heart surgeon," he said, and started arguing with the other doctors. I was watching them closely. Most of the comments were helpful, but some people just started talking about themselves, not about the man who is in need. 2 more doctors had joined in, making a total of 4 doctors arguing with each other regarding procedures and techniques that should be used to save Uncle. Suddenly, I hated the Prithvi rich snob again. A man stood up from a seat that was 2 rows ahead of us. He asked for Uncle's phone so he could call his family. He said he was an army major. Just then, I heard a voice from the back of the hall. "I am a colonel." "But I see that you have better view of the man, so go ahead." All this while, Uncle was lying in a recovery position, administered by one of the doctors who had taken charge. A smart-looking man in his 40s, late 40s or early 50s. Slowly but surely, he was recovering. And the shaking stopped. The doctors helped him up to sit. "Mister, you are absolutely fine. Don't worry. You just experienced a seizure." He gave Uncle his spectacles and further added, "Do you have any history of epilepsy?" Uncle didn't say anything. He just wore his specs and slowly looked at me. And I could hear his eyes say, "You almost killed me today." In my defense, since I was the closest, I did like to think that something I did might have helped the man. or at least bring enough attention to the situation so that the people who could help finally did. The crowd murmured. The theatre management escorted the man out of the row 4 and presumably to a taxi home. And after a few minutes, the play resumed. As for myself, all I could think about was the mannerisms of the doctors in the room during this whole thing. Yes, they fought, and some of them were pretty immature. But the way they moved and looked at the uncle, they instilled confidence. I thought about how I would find a mirror when I got home and try to capture some of those expressions for future roles. After all, though in real life I may nearly kill a person with my total ignorance of doctors' skills, manhandling his body in completely useless ways, with a little luck, maybe I can still play one on television. Thank you.